Welcome again into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. Delighted that you've tuned in, joined with me today here on Strategies. Strategies for Living, well, we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, in our relationships here in the 21st century. We're going to hit all of those today, C.L. Bryant. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Doc. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Welcome back. The Reverend C.L. Bryant is, I'm not supposed to play favorites, but he's one of my favorite guests. Don't tell anybody. Of course, fellow with Freedom Works, and if you listen to the radio like I do, News Radio 710 Keel, and now you're on FM too, 101.7 FM.
That's right, Doc.
5:30 to 7:30 each and every afternoon, the C.L. Bryant Show.
That's right.
On News Radio 710 Keel. You have really, what you've been doing this couple of years now?
Nearly 3 years this year.
Goodness, time flies when
really
you start
does.
having fun.
Yeah, 3
Well,
years.
what a great show.
Thank you so much for
The
that.
C.L. Bryant Show has evolved into, and the community has just embraced, both listening wise and commercially.
Yes.
It's a commercial sellout.
Well, we've been doing very well, and we're very proud of what the Lord has allowed us to do with the show as far as building a bridge to conversation, regardless of if you agree with me or not. It's a bridge to conversation, and I think that's one thing that we as Americans many times have lost in our nation, is the ability to converse with one another without arguing, and you're a guru at that.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Now, you are a fellow of Freedom Works. What is Freedom Works, C.L.?
Freedom Works is the largest grassroots organization in our country. We boast 5.7 million activists on the ground around the country.
What's the purpose of Freedom? Or what do you stand for? What are you here for?
Fiscal responsibility, and of course, we are fiscal conservatives. As far as the policies are concerned, all of us are policy wonks at Freedom Works. I just left there this past week, where we took on the Ryan Care there as far as Obamacare is concerned. We wanted to send a message that it's not acceptable to have anything less than what we were promised by those we sent to office.
And that happens so much, and I'm afraid we're seeing it happen now. Healthcare, it needs to be about healthcare, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. There's no question about it. And making Americans, the most un-American thing that you can imagine is making Americans pay for something through a government mandate. That is un-American. A government vehicle or a government product. You can't force Americans to buy something from the government because it is unfair. And we're going just as hard at the Trump administration and Paul Ryan as we did against Obama. A lot of people would have liked to have thought that we were being racist or an Uncle Tom, whatever you want.
Or biased against one party or
the other.
But you're saying, no,
right.
We're for the people.
Exactly. It never had anything. And this is what we try to tell people for the last 8 years. I've been with Freedom Works for 8 years. For the last 8 years, we have tried to tell people that our problem with President Obama was never him. It was the policies.
Right.
And the same thing that we have had against Obama, we have against the Trump administration. And it's the duty of every grassroots person, every citizen, to say so when government is intruding into your private life.
Here's what I know, and I may get in trouble for saying this, I don't know. I know before Obamacare, I thought I was paying an outrageous amount of money every month for my own personal health care to be insured. I was Blue Cross Blue Shield, no secrets. I was paying around $600 a month. I thought that was a lot of money.
Sure it is.
For a
working stiff.
a working counselor.
Sure.
We aren't like you reverends and talk show hosts.
I wish it were true.
But here's what I know. I was able to do that. What I know is that under Obamacare, that my premium went up to $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that my deductible raised from $1,500 a month to $2,800.
That is
Or
correct.
not $1,500 a month,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
$1,500 to
$1,500.
$2,800.
Right.
That's what I know.
That's what you
And
know.
I also know that I can't afford that.
No. And
I
no,
mean, it was a matter of, in my business, either I pay payroll, I pay my folks, or I, and so I don't want to break the law.
of course not.
I don't. How can you put someone, a working stiff, like you say, in that kind of a position?
You can, and that's the question that most Americans are asking around the country. And when we look at the design of Obamacare, it only gets worse. And now the President Trump is saying that it would implode on its own. And just the scenario that you've just given does tell us that for every American that has the same story that you have, it would implode.
Right.
Because you can't pay it.
You can't,
it's not
yeah.
within your budget
Right.
to pay it.
And it really wasn't about health care. It was
No.
it really wasn't about providing health care
No.
for people.
It's
was
about
it?
government control.
Right.
And the people that we have sent to Washington, D.C., many times they forget who sent them there, what the purpose was for sending them there. And Doc, in any situation when we forget the purpose of a thing or a person, abuse is inevitable. And our politicians have been abusing us as American citizens. If there's one message that we have at FreedomWorks, there's one message that I have on my show, a silver lining, a string that runs through my show, a thread that runs through my show. It is that Americans should be aware when their politicians are running amok.
Yeah.
That's what we should be aware of.
The last time that you were on this show, I think was either 1 week before the election. It may have been the Monday before Tuesday's election. I can't recall, but I know you were within that period. We were both wondering. I think we were both wondering what the outcome of the election was going to be.
Right.
Surprised?
Actually, yes and no. I was surprised at the margin that the president won. I believe that he would win. Hillary was a bad candidate, period.
Yeah.
And a better candidate may have beat him. Bernie Sanders may have actually beat Trump. But I'm not surprised that the American people spoke in the way that they did speak, because it is time for someone who does understand business. And the business of the American people had not been tended to in a fashion that could move us forward.
We're still within his first 100 days.
59 days today.
What report card, if you were grading, if you were giving him a grade so far, if you were giving him a report card, this would be 59 days, so it's a little past the halfway point of his first 100 days. What would his progress report be right now? Would it be an A? Would it be a B, C, D, or F?
He's above average. He's a B, maybe headed toward a B plus.
Okay.
Because he's at least trying to keep the promises that he made. Now there's medicine that we're going to have to take in order to get well as a nation. And whenever people understand that the medicine may be bitter, they kind of recoil
Right.
from taking the medicine that'll heal them.
Yeah, I don't ever want to give up anything. I'm fine with you giving up something, but don't take it away from me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly the situation that we're facing in this country, especially among Hollywood elites and people like that who are saying they're leaving the country and attacking the presidency in such a vehement way. And what does concern me so now, Dr. McMillan, is this. There's a threat against the institution of the presidency. I'm not talking about Donald Trump.
Right.
There's a threat against the institution of the presidency that we have never seen before in this country, and people must realize that that is a constitutional institution that we must preserve in order for us to continue to enjoy the endowments that this country has offered us as a republic.
And CL, I think that was going on in the last, that has not just arisen under this president.
Exactly.
I heard so much hatred during the last 8 years. And it makes me wonder, I know that you or I, because I know how you were raised and I know how I was raised, President Obama walks into the room, we're standing.
He's the president.
He's the president of the United States.
Right.
I'm still standing if he walks in the room. He's one of the, just as I would if Jimmy Carter or,
exactly. Or
if,
Barack Obama,
if Barack Obama or President George H.W. Bush or
exactly.
W walked in the room. He is a former president of the United States.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. And Doc,
I respect that office
yes.
that he holds or did hold.
And every American should. And when we look at, I had an opportunity to meet both of the last three presidents, both President Obama and President Trump now, President Trump on several occasions now. And the one thing that is uncanny about the office, and I trust that this never goes away, it does carry with it, whoever's embodying that office, it does carry with it a certain aura. You're the president of the free, you're the leader.
You're the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
And now, President Trump is taking some heat about that. He's maybe a little loose on Saturdays with his Twitter. I was listening to one of the talk shows this morning saying, he has a good team around him.
Oh yeah.
He has an excellent team around him, but they got to figure out a way to help him. Maybe I don't know what has made President Trump is his personality, which I call fire, ready, aim.
Absolutely right, and that's exactly him.
And he'll fire. And this is the way he's succeeded time and time again. Fire, rotate the guns, fire, rotate the guns, fire, rotates the guns, and then maybe step back and say, okay, what have we hit?
Exactly.
And some people are saying, well, that's fine for a business person, but it doesn't really work so well as the president of the free world, as the president of the United States. What do you say about that?
As we look at the 59th day of his presidency, we must understand that he's not a politician.
Right.
He was a businessman and is a businessman, and he is the author of The Art of the Deal. And I think that there is an evolution, to use a word, that is going on with him.
I think we saw it in his joint speech.
Yeah.
To
Tuesday,
Congress.
a couple of Tuesdays ago.
A couple of Tuesdays ago.
Right, and a good acquaintance of mine, Kellyanne Conway, who doesn't get the proper recognition that she deserves, by the way. She's the first American woman.
She orchestrated the victory.
Right, she's the first American woman to ever orchestrate a presidential victory in this country, but yet, I think because she's a conservative woman, if Whoopi Goldberg had done that, or somebody else had done that, who is on the liberal elite side, they would be singing their praises. Kellyanne Conway pulling off the type of victory she pulled off with Donald Trump, a non-politician, it was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal.
But no one is giving her the credit that she deserves. Steve Bannon, a good friend of mine, Andrew Breitbart introduced us many years ago now, is also someone who comes under the type of fire that is not deserved.
Why are these people? Why are the Kellyanne Conways? Why are the Steve Bannons being such lightning rods? And again, some of the things that are said about each one of those individuals, you couldn't say in Sunday school.
No.
So why is this, CL?
Doc, that's a conversation that you and I really need to have, and I want to have you on the radio show with me to examine it. But the word racist, the word unsavory woman as a conservative, or name calling, I should say, has become vogue in our country today, that it replaces conversation. You just call them a fascist. You just call them a racist.
Right. Just label them.
Just label them.
Stick a label on
Yeah,
them.
label them and then you disregard them. Because who wants to be in the same room with a racist
Right.
or a fascist? I can tell you myself personally, Steve Bannon is no racist. And Kellyanne Conway is a stand-up American woman. She's the quintessential American woman. I mean, she can bring home the bacon fried up in the pan and all of that type thing too. She is the quintessential American woman.
Yeah.
Why she's not revered as that, why she's not held up to young women as a role model, I may never know.
We're hearing a lot about the media bias. We're hearing a lot about the fake news. How much credence do you put in all of that?
He is, the president is a counter puncher. I did the Hannity show a few months back, well before the election, right before the election. I was there with him, Don King was on stage, and of course Sean was on stage with us as well. And Pastor Darrell Scott was on stage. In fact, we were at his church. And the president is a counter puncher. If you hit him, he's going to hit you back hard. Tell you something that happened to CNN when he dropped the fake news moniker on them. Same thing happened to Ted Cruz. When the president dropped the fake news moniker on CNN, their stock dropped 10%. Ted Cruz, when he put the Lying Ted moniker on him,
Right.
Ted Cruz was essentially finished.
Finished. Done.
The president is a counterpuncher, and I do believe that his genius, if you want to look at it that way, is branding. And once he places a brand on you, the Pocahontas with Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
Once he places a brand on you, that brand usually sticks. And he's a genius at branding, and he's branded himself over 30 years. And he has become successful. And what I do really like about where we're going in this new era of this administration is that we're seeing a leader of the free world who has failed in business 3 times. But he's also gotten back on that horse.
I want to talk about that. Let's get a break in here. You know we got to get these breaks.
You betcha.
We're talking to the Reverend C.L. Bryant. He is the host of the C.L. Bryant Show, News Radio 710 Keel. We're going to take a break. We'll come back, talk more with C.L., our life strategist today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back.
Going up. Take 4.
was awesome, dude.
Shot 40, take 1,297.
What?
Guys, help me!
Good, you're good.
And welcome back into the television version of Strategies for Living. Of course, you're watching Strategies for Living today, but you can also listen to us. We started 25 years ago.
Really, Doc?
C.L.
Congratulations.
Bryant on News Radio 710 Keel. We're still there. Sunday mornings, 9:05 to 10, where it all began.
I always listen.
And you can also listen to us on www.strategiesforliving.com.
Yeah.
Another of my News Radio 710 colleagues is C.L. Bryant.
Absolutely.
The C.L. Bryant Show, 5:30 to 7:30 each weekday afternoon.
Each weekday afternoon.
Taking those phone calls.
Yes, sir.
And getting into trouble every now and again.
Sometimes we do.
And
But that's
you've
the fun
also,
of it.
You've also produced you've produced a movie.
Yeah, Runaway
You've done
Slave.
a lot of things.
Runaway Slave is an award-winning film that the Crystal Dove Award, we won Best Documentary in limited release back 3 years ago.
And am I remembering that you've got another one that is
Red, White, and Black. We're working on putting the funds together for Red, White, and Black. And there's a lot of other things. We're beginning to expand. We're going to be expanding into other radio markets to truly syndicate.
That's
We're in
fantastic.
Wilmington, North Carolina at present.
I know there's big things ahead. So
We pray God
and folks,
will
you
allow
can
it.
hear it right here, the C.L. Bryant Show on News Radio 710 Keel. You talk about a new America, a post-Obama America.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, the new America?
When we talk about a post-Obama America, Doc, we're talking about an America that's coming out a season of emotionalism, whereas everything was centered around how you felt about the president, how you felt about his color, how you felt about the policies that he put in place because he put them there. In this evolution and this new America that we're facing, we are now coming into a place where we are more rational. And we're, by necessity, we're going to have to be more rational in our thinking. We're 19 trillion, headed to $20 trillion in debt. That the young people here that work here
Sure.
are facing, and unbeknownst to them,
And their grandchildren.
and their grandchildren.
And their great-grandchildren. If we don't get this if we don't get a handle on this
Right.
now,
Right,
will the United States as we know it
right.
be able to sustain?
No, it will not be, because many more of them are not working.
Right.
You and I came out of an era where we wanted to get out of the house. We wanted to get that job, get that car, get our apartment, and get on with our life.
No, we did not want to. I mean, we both graduated high school. You
Fair Park.
Fair Park,
Yeah.
me Jesuit.
Yeah.
And you were 1974, just like I was.
Yeah.
And there was not a question of wanting to stay
No.
living
no.
with mom and dad.
No. In fact, my dad started telling me when I was 15, I was gone. I was out of here. And so that put in my mind that I had to get a job, had to work, and had to make my way in life. Too many times you have people at 35 still at home in the basement or and they're still in the same room
Right.
that they grew up in. That is something that it comes along with the emotionalism of having someone, a 26-year-old, on your insurance, on your parents' insurance policy until they're that age.
So is it emotion? It's not just emotionalism.
No,
though.
no.
It's emotionalism plus a sense of entitlement. You owe me.
Exactly, and therein is the
And I'm
linkage.
talking about an entire generation,
Oh, yeah.
generation after generation
Oh yeah,
here.
oh yeah. And when someone feels, Doc, that they are entitled, then there is this guilt that comes along with the person who gives in to the entitlement mentality. And that is usually connected with some type of emotional feeling that, yeah, maybe I do owe them. And if they don't feel that way, then somebody always comes along and says, why are you not a humanitarian? Why are you being so inhumane?
Right. Why are you being bigoted?
Exactly.
We will, as you were mentioning in the last segment, we will attach a label very, very quickly to somebody.
Right, and that's the par for the course over the last, and it just didn't begin 8 years ago. when President Obama came into office. This is something that began way back in the 60s when Lyndon Johnson put together the Great Society.
Right.
It was an idea that we could bring all people up to some type of parity and everybody could succeed perhaps on the same level. Well, winning and losing is a part of life. We're watching the Final Four now, I mean the March Madness.
Right.
In every one of those games, and so it is with life, somebody's going to win.
Somebody wins and
somebody's
somebody
gonna
lose.
That's the way it is.
And you come back and you try again next
That's
year.
the only way it can happen.
You know, so one of the things that I would invite our viewers to do is perhaps the thing that we can all do is become better educated. How do you do that? Well, you listen to people like the Reverend C.L. Bryant.
Thank you for that.
And I think you listen to
Dr. McMillan.
your colleagues. Well, I wasn't going to say me.
Yeah,
so
well, I'll say it.
I'm the life section, if you will. But News Radio 710 Keel is loaded up with people
Yeah.
who will make you think.
Oh, absolutely.
You may not agree
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Rushes and the Shawns and the CLs,
Right.
but they will make you think and they'll stretch you.
Right.
And I think that's what we've got to do. So, folks, tune in to the Reverend C.L. Bryant, the C.L. Bryant Show, every weekday, 5:30 to 7:30, Monday through Friday.
Yes, sir.
Give him a call and ask him a question every now and again. He'll give you a good answer. And don't forget to listen to Strategies for a Living, that same radio station, News Radio 710 Keel, Sunday mornings, 9:05 to 10, and on strategiesforliving.com. For C.L. Bryant, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. See you next time here on Strategies for a Living.